Do you know what I was thinking about? The first time that we met. Actually, let me do the intro and then we'll get into it. Yeah? Hello, beautiful people. Welcome back to a new episode of the Dream is Money Purpose podcast. Thank you for joining me once again to speak to another incredible guest, a special guest of mine who is doing amazing things. He's breaking records. He is living his purpose-driven life, and I love that for him. It is the one, the only
Hamid Ibrahim. Thanks for having me.
Hamid Ibrahim. How are you doing?
Not too bad. How about you?
I'm really good. I can't complain right now. I mean, I could, but I
Could be
won't.
better, could be worse.
Exactly. It could be, it could be better, but it also could be worse. So
Yeah.
we give God the praise. So I was thinking about the first time that we met. Do you remember?
Yes, mostly.
Mostly.
Like 65%.
Okay, what do you remember?
I remember we met at the location. We spoke about a little bit about what we were both doing.
So the
Yeah.
one thing I remember about you was how you were just so warm
Oh,
and so open arms with everyone.
thank
Just
you.
just even looking at the way you were moving around the room. So we met at an event which was almost like a gala style networking situation. Really great event. And yeah, it was just like watching you and just how warm and open you are, which it stood out because as Londoners, you know how we're like, and you were almost the complete opposite of that. And I think despite the fact that it was a networking event, sometimes even in those situations, sometimes us Londoners can be a little bit
Catching a
standoffish.
bit, yeah.
Yeah. Whereas you were just like, hi, what's your name? And it was just from a genuine place.
Oh, thank you very much. I'm going to claim my Uganda heritage for that niceness over there. But
Yeah. Let's fast forward a few years later. You are now starring in your own documentary, which is currently being featured on Disney.
yes.
Not only that, you have been part of a team. Actually, let's rewind. Tell me about Kugali Media and what you do, who you are, how that journey started.
Okay, so Kugali is a company that's focusing on telling African stories. And the way we like to tell these stories is we want to, at least our quote is, respect the past, embrace the present, and imagine a new future for Africa. So that's kind of how we're looking at it.
I like that.
And in terms of our goals, we kind of have an acronym, EIQ. E is growing the entire creative economy. I is innovating, because, you know, a lot of times when people deal with African stories or generally anything with Africa, people don't think about trying to be fast. We want to try and be fast on everything, not just fast in the continent, but fast worldwide. And then Q, quality. It has to be high quality. So that's Kugali in a nutshell. And then in terms of the show, Iwaju, what you're talking about, it's an animated show. As you said, record-wise, it's the first time in Walt Disney Animation's 100-year history they have collaborated with anybody, not somebody from Africa, not black. They've collaborated with anybody to create an original animation.
Wow.
So a way you can kind of look at this, a way it can be a way for people to understand this is if you look at every single Disney project made, and you look at the title, at the top of it, you'll see Disney's name, and then you'll see maybe a company that owns name. This is the first time it's a title, Disney's name, and Kugali, an external company on that. So on all the merchandise, on every single thing, our name is on it.
Wow. Congratulations. That is history. You have made history. You and your partners have made history. How does that feel?
It's a odd feeling in that the history bit, you get used to it very quickly. You know, they talk about hedonic adaptation. It's actually a theme in the animation, hedonic adaptation. But that catches up with you really quick on achievements.
It's called what? Adaptation?
Hedonic adaptation.
Okay.
Pretty much when you advance, where you have advanced to becomes your new normal. That catches up with achievements and people and environments. That changes very quick. What didn't change is the level of impact the show had. So there's some stories had, even here, I'm sure some people have watched it. Just leave your stories down there somewhere, right? There's some stories people who have watched this show which just, in other words, when I'm having a bad day, they lift me up or just blew my mind. Like they actually changed the way, not even the way, the motivation I had when I was doing this, they completely switched because of people's reactions, like of how deeply this show meant for people.
Tell me
was
some
insane.
of those reactions that you've had from people.
Yeah, I'll tell you, there's one story, has a funny ending, but it's great. So I have a friend, has a niece, and every time they'll tell the niece, hey, let's go back home, right? That's to Africa. She would cry. She'd be like, no, I don't want to go back home. The internet is bad, etc., etc. They
Home
watched
is
Iwaju. She
Home
lives
is where?
I'll clear. I'm leaving it out for a reason.
Okay.
Right? For the end, it's a punchline.
Okay.
Right? Now, after they watched Iwaju together, she went to the mom and went, hey, I want to go to Lagos, Nigeria. By herself. Right?
Wow.
Now, if you think about what that would take, right? For somebody to go from, I don't want to go that side to, hey, I want to go there. You're telling the mom now. Now, the reason I left out the name is because they're Ugandan. So I wish they said Kampala. But I was like, the impact of that, right? That's just one example of how deeply that hit for people. And I realized that moment it hit me that what this is going to be for people is so deep, especially the diaspora. People on the continent, they were excited about it. It's more like, oh my God, we finally made it to the big stages in some kind of way. People in the diaspora, I realized how much this was more of a deeper need, in that most people in the African diaspora, the stories of who they are and where they're from, it's a very horrible story. It's pretty much most people's stories when they think about their self-image, it's starting from slavery, which is just a horrible starting point.
Yeah.
But that access to back home, the continent, and just people being able to relate to that in some kind of way, or seeing that, it kind of shifts where your origin story is not beginning from. Now it's beginning from you're back home in Africa, then there's this moment, which is a bad moment, and then you're back on your feet again, right? So versus your story being that horrible start, your story is the actual start, what it's meant to be. So it's a bit more depth there. So that was more incredible. That moved me a lot more than the first time and all that. Like we've received quite a few awards by now, and all those. It's weird because you receive the award today, you're happy. 2 days later, it's like, it looks nice, but it's like it doesn't hold.
The moment almost is like it's fleeting. So now you're thinking about the next thing.
Exactly. Yeah.
But before we start moving on to the next thing, let's just enjoy all that is happening with it. So I want to start with the audacious statement that you made, which in a way really landed you to where we are now, where you said we want to kick Disney's ass.
Yes. So I normally don't talk like that, which is funny because it was a whole day of filming BBC did. And I remember that's the only line that stuck in my head. I was like, nah, no chance they're going to put that in the thing. And then it comes out and the piece comes out. The heading of the piece is comic book company says they're going to kick Disney's ass. And I remember when I read that, I remember my blood pressure went up right away.
You're like, hey, what have I done? What have I said now, Lord?
At that time with the chief creator of Disney reached out to us, right? The amazing thing, I'll give her credit. The amazing thing about her is she saw the passion behind the statement versus just a statement. She saw where I was coming from, why I said that statement. She saw that and she reached out to us just to talk. There was no project in hand or anything like that. She was like, hey, let me just talk to these people. Let me see what's going on there. She had found some of our work online. We had comic books online at that time. And then reached out, talked, and then from there, ABC and the rest is history.
I think what's interesting about that is you mentioning the fact that you had workouts already. So it wasn't even just a random Joe talking about, oh, I dream about XYZ, which is fair enough in itself. But it's the fact that she was able to look you up and see you've already got a resume of great work.
Yeah.
So now you can back up your statement. It's not an empty statement. It's a statement that holds weight because the quality of your work already speaks for itself.
Exactly. That's a key thing there. Because you do this, they reach out, they're like, oh, it's just a crazy guy. But if you have work out, they're like, oh, okay, these guys have something going for them.
Yeah.
Let's see how far it can go.
Yeah.
So it creates it opens the light in which they see you. Yeah.
Yeah. How great is that? I love that. And I think one of the things that you spoke about, okay, we win the awards and you realize that there's more.
Yeah.
Right? Some people say you've reached the mountain peak.
In a way.
In all honesty, you have achieved in your years what some people do not achieve in 60 to 70 years in their lifetimes, essentially.
Yep.
But as we already spoke about, as you grow, as you achieve these things, your goals change.
Exactly.
How have you started to see that manifest in your own life and maybe within just Kugali Media as a team?
So, two main ways, right? Because before Iwaju, my assumption was if you create something that's great, that breaks the mold, the whole industry in Africa should have a huge shift. There has been a shift, but nowhere as big as I thought it would have been, right? And the reason is the infrastructure is not quite there. So now the goal has shifted more into, as you mentioned, the EIQ, right? We had to grow the whole economy, creative economy in the continent. And that's in every country. I keep on saying Africa because we're actually Pan-African as a company. That's one of our superpowers. We have people in, at the moment, I think 10 different African countries at the list, right? So when I say Africa, that's what I mean. I cannot, if I single out one country, the other people will complain. Let's put it that way, right? So we need to find a way to grow the entire creative economy. And we have been making progress in that area. I know you on my social media probably seen this. One of the big ones was I got to meet the president of Uganda. And
why are you stealing my questions? You're going too fast. Relax.
Relax.
Come back. We'll get there.
I'll leave that on for you, yeah? So in terms of the goals there, it's now more on the scale of, still, it's almost the same as the first statement of kicking disease in Africa, but obviously I've grown beyond that. So now it's more, I truly believe, African visual media can 100% absolutely outcompete every single visual media in the world. We have some very unique, and this is the first time I said that statement. Somebody could say maybe I was naive, less experienced. At the moment, I don't think anybody has a perspective of experience I have. So in other words, I worked in industry before in Hollywood. So films I worked on, Lion King, Dumbo, Dr. Dolittle. So I worked in that, in the factory, where you have to wait like 10 minutes to see your name in the credits. I worked there. After that, I built a company, right, that has reached heights to where it can work with such a project, right? So I have seen the stages of building it. And then I've worked in Disney Animation as a leader. I wasn't there as a talent. I was not just there as an artist who was being given directions. I was giving the direction. I was making the decision in all the big people in Disney, right? So I've seen it from that perspective, the bottom and the middle. And with that experience, with that perspective, with all these different countries I've gone to giving speeches, with all these different events I've gone to, I truly believe African media can actually dominate in the world, 100%, from an informed position. Not from a kid's position saying they're going to listen, from an informed position.
I like that. I think we definitely have a lot of untapped talents, unused talents that, you know, if we were to make the most of it, we really would dominate. But let's talk about Iwaju. For anyone who's not seen it, doesn't know what we're talking about, please, what is Iwaju?
So Iwaju is animation. It's like a family animation. It's about a kid, young heiress. She's a daughter to a very rich. If you've been in Lagos, you know those rich guys. I think one of those rich guys' daughter, but the story takes place 100 years in the future. And the story pretty much explores her journey where she kind of moves from this sheltered life to try and find her own way. And she's trying to explore the whole of Lagos. And she finds herself in some precarious positions. Let's put it that way.
No, I loved it. So I was watching it and so there's 6 episodes. I binged the whole entire thing in one sitting.
Not
and then
surprised.
I was like, okay, it's finished now. I want more. It was absolutely incredible. I was blown away by the level of production. I was blown away by how incredibly detailed it was in just everything that you see, from, you know, there's like scenes in the marketplace to what they wear, to the sounds, to the accents, to the vendors and the hawkers that you would typically see in any sort of like African market typically. And just in ensuring that it was very Nigerian, but also as an African, I could relate to just everything that I saw on the screen. And even though the relationships and the way that they speak to each other, you know, there's that respect thing wasn't lost. So even just the cultural nuances that you understand as an African, it was still there. And I really appreciated that.
Thank you very much. You put in a lot of effort to make sure that stays in. Again, Kogali said, authentic African stories. There's a segment I've been saying a lot, just put on that point, right? Which is, because I know people talk about diversity, and I truly believe authenticity beats diversity, and you cannot have diversity without authenticity. Like if you try to have diversity without authenticity, it looks fake. People recognize it right away. And that's one thing we're key on. Like you watch Iwaju, if you've been to Lagos or even been to the continent, right? You feel it. There's a spirit to a place, and that's the thing we wanted to capture, right? And the tagline we use it's a love letter to Lagos. And again, every single time somebody describes like that, and they show that they understand the depth they got into, it makes me so happy. It warms me up. Yeah.
No, but I'm glad because I was going to ask you, like, was that intentional? Because even in the language that they speak, so they
Yep.
speak English, they speak Pidgin English, and there's Yoruba too engraved in some of the few sentences that they speak.
That was very intentional in that, again, we came to Disney. We're doing this story. It has to feel like Lagos. And the whole idea was we're going to get what people identify with Lagos right now and push that 100 years in the future. So it's less of what would Lagos, the question wasn't what would Lagos be 100 years from now. The question was if we're to get all the things that people identify as Lagos and we push that 100 years in the future, what would that be? So that was more on how we built that. And that was very intentional because we really wanted to keep the soul of Lagos. Because if you evolve Lagos to what it would be 100 in the future, if you look at Lagos 100 years in the past from today, it probably is a very different feeling place.
Yeah.
I wouldn't want to lose that.
No, and you certainly didn't. You certainly didn't.
Thank you.
So can I do my pitch right now? Are you ready to hear it?
Shoot, yeah.
We want another season where the main character, she is mini superhero going around essentially fixing crime, solving, mysteries and solving issues within the city. I feel like that'd be so cool. Just her and her best friend, and maybe with the help of her dad with the tech. I feel like that could be a whole thing.
It could be.
Okay.
I like it. It's not too bad.
It's
Fair enough, you're not the first one who is coming up with the story.
Really?
Among the story extension, there's one, because we're currently in an investment round. And one of the people who reached out to us as an investor, just to talk, they reached out because they watched Iwaju with a kid, and the kid wouldn't stop bothering him about creating new episodes. And they're on episode 16 or something.
Wow.
Lots of bedtime stories now is just Iwaju stories the dad is coming up with. So again, it's a thing where we know people are hungry for more. Again, it takes time to make it. This was meant to be a limited series. So there was no plan for season 2. So
how long did it
started
take from the initial conversations that you had with Disney till launch day? How long was that process?
Initial conversations were in 2019, February or January. And then launch day was 2024, February.
So 5-6 years.
Yes.
Wow.
One whole year of that was contract negotiations and just talking.
Wow. So it wasn't even we're now in the works of it. It was how will it come to be, and
Exactly.
the paperwork and the legal.
Exactly. There was a lot. Again,
Wow.
we're trying to do the first of something.
Of course, yeah. So it has to be.
There's
it has to be right.
There's no template for that. So we had a lot of hurdles, and then COVID happened mid-production.
Wow. Yes, of course, COVID.
There was that, and then the wildness of that as well. Tolu, actually one of my other co-founders, he stays in Lagos. He's always in Lagos. Doesn't want to leave Lagos.
Yeah.
Don't know why he enjoys it. And it's very peaceful for somebody who lives in Lagos.
I can't even comment on that because I don't want any Nigerians coming for me, okay?
Nah,
because
they
like,
know
babe,
themselves.
you have no rights to comment.
They know themselves.
Yeah.
It's not, I'd say the best way I could describe Lagosian is there's a certain audacity and passion that Lagos has.
Yeah.
No, not Nigeria. This specific Lagos.
Lagos.
Yeah, Abuja come. To the north, come. For some reason, Lagos.
But I feel like if you live in a city like that, you have to have.
You have to.
The environment really just pushes you to be a certain way. It's so funny because like my best friend is Nigerian. From Lagos, and whenever just in the way we interact, she's like, "You're too calm," or like she has that vim. She's like, "Babe, what's like? I need you to." I'm like, I'm a Zim girl. I don't even come from the capital city. I come from the second capital. We're even more chill. Number one, number two, I'm Debele, so I'm double laid back, chilled.
Okay.
But yes, carry on.
Yeah, he got stuck in the US.
Wow.
He was supposed to be there for like a week or something, or 2 weeks. He got stuck for months. Luckily, he had family there, so he went and stayed in the family there. But
okay, yeah, that's crazy.
Yeah.
So in that process, so 5 to 6 years of creating Iwaju, what have some of the most important learning points that you've taken away just during that process? Maybe for you as an individual and then professionally?
I'd say as an individual, I'll start professionally because that's the easiest one, right? It gave me remember when I mentioned about the perspectives I have? It kind of fit a lot of puzzle pieces that I had missing in terms of my understanding of the industry. and it gave me a very, like, the understanding I have of the industry. As I say right now, most people who have this level of understanding of the industry have been there for like, they've been there for like over 30 years, right? If people really don't realize, I've only been in the industry for like, I graduated in 2017.
Okay.
I've had a very quick run.
So it's been like fast tracked your growth and your exposure.
Extra fast. Like every single thing I've done has been extra fast. Like lightning speed, let's put it that way, right? So it's been quite wild, right? But that extra pace, that's in terms of professionally, that's one thing that it just was absolute gold for me. And then personally, because it was you don't learn many personal lessons when things are going well. And things went very well.
Okay.
You get it, right?
Good.
So it's a very weird one, right? So because things went very well, not as many personal lessons.
But what did you learn about yourself, maybe?
About
Now that you
from that perspective.
Yeah, from that perspective. What did you learn about you that maybe you didn't realize before?
I got more confident in my abilities because before I thought I was good, but there was always a thing in my head of like, okay, you're good, but you've not really seen everyone, so are you really that good?
Yeah.
And here I was with the top people, and I was like,
Now
I'm holding my own, I'm good.
You're working with the best of the best in the industry. I mean, you're working with Disney, who essentially have the best of creative minds in the entire world, probably.
Yeah, and I was holding my own. In other words, I was very comfortable there. I did not feel out of place whatsoever. And
No
that's the
imposter syndrome.
No, that's the thing. It was one of those. I was like, I thought it would be harder. Like I thought I would have some stress in terms of transitioning, leading such a huge team and everything. Because remember, it's like hundreds of people working on this.
Yeah.
Right. I thought I would kind of have a point like issue transitioning. It was so smooth, and that's because again, with building the company and all that, there's some skills you have to learn, and they all came in really handy.
Yeah. So at that point, how long had you been running your own team when you started to create Iwaju?
About 2 years.
Okay, yeah. So you'd had a bit of experience in starting to really getting comfortable in that position as a leader.
Exactly, yeah.
But okay, so tell me now, I think some of us, we always think about, well, I say in this kind of time space that we're in, particularly with social media, just amplifying a lot of voices, there's so much pressure to be the boss babe or to be the CEO and to be the founder of this and that. But of course, being a leader is not easy. Employing individuals is not always roses and rainbows. So tell me about some of those challenges that you faced within that time.
Yeah, there we can have a lot of lessons learned there now, because that's a rough road. So the different thing, I'll kind of put a big kind of, what's the word? Like a more general one, then I'm going to go to a very specific one.
Yeah.
Right? I'll give you the more general one. In the more general one, you realize that every lesson, every like issue you thought you had, every time you move higher, it's not like those issues go away. It's just, you just have to be more equipped to handle those issues to be able to go higher. So your problems are constantly multiplying as you get higher. It's just your comfort in handling those problems that has to be good. So that's, in terms of a personal lesson, that's one that helps me a ton, where the perspective has changed, right? It's not like, oh, there's too many problems today. It's like, okay, so this is this kind of problem, we know how to handle that. Okay, what's next? So this one, oh, this is a new one, and then you find a way to deal with that new one.
Right.
You add the new arsenal, and the moment you do that, it's what allows you to move forward. So that's in terms of just kind of wider, very general one, which every single person will face, right? There are problems.
That's the issues that most CEOs will have to deal with.
Yeah.
So essentially firefighting.
Yeah, you have to be comfortable with issues.
Yeah.
Because it's not even firefighting. It's as a CEO, as a leader, any leader, anywhere, right? Every time there's a problem and it's bad, like really bad, it comes to you.
There's no one else to turn to.
Exactly. It has to come to you, right? And if you think about it, the larger that team becomes, the more of those come to you. And if all you're working on is problems, and not only problems, because if it's not an important problem, they will handle it. You're handling only important problems.
Big problems.
Exactly. That's all you're dealing with.
New levels, new devils.
Yeah,
and now you have to know how to deal with those bigger devils. You beat this one, then the next, then the next, then the next.
So the goal is not to have zero problems. The goal is to have a team that can handle problems well.
Oh.
The goal is to make sure your mind can handle problems well. That's it. Your goal is not to be, God, please help me remove the problems. Then you're not progressing. The goal is, hey, God, give me bigger shoulders to handle those big problems that come. That's the goal. Yeah.
I love that. Just partnering with God in the good and the bad.
Oh, yeah. 100%. And I think you have to be comfortable in the bad. The bad is not bad. Don't look at the bad as bad. You have to be comfortable with the
challenges.
Yeah, they're not really... I stopped looking at them as bad. Funny enough, this is a very fresh thing. Right? Because I had it a bit...
So this is a recent learning.
Very recent learning, right? Because I had it a little bit, but then recently I found there was a bit... Because it's a weird one, right? Because the first thing you get used to is the problems come at you aggressively, because those ones announce themselves, right? Wow. You get used to those. And then the problems are coming silently, seductively. They don't announce themselves. It's those that are hard to catch, right? And those ones, they seep into you. And I'll give you one. Remember I told you that I was taking this week off? As off as a CEO can be, as I say. And the reason I took this week off was I was noticing myself being a little bit bitter. And I was like, hold up, what's going on here? Then I had a whole mental reframe. Yeah.
So could you give me an example of what the bitterness was stemming from?
It was because we're currently as investment round and we're talking to all these investors. And for everything we've achieved, my perception was they're going to be throwing money at us. Now, a lot of conversations are going well, but it feels like we're still pulling teeth. And that shouldn't be the case. And in other cases, it feels like we're trying to describe to a blind man what the color red is. Right? So a lot of those...
So they cannot see the vision that you have.
It's not even they cannot see the vision. I would be okay with people not seeing the vision, right? Those ones I'm not as hurt by. The ones I'm hurt by are the ones who don't have trust in the continent. Actually, let me rephrase that. People have trust in Africa's resources. They do not have trust in Africa's people.
Wow.
And the more and more that would hit me, I was just getting more bitter and bitter.
That's really deep.
Yeah. Think about it, right? And it's not like really you just feel it once. Is you see it over and over again. And then you go to events. It's that weird thing. As I say, it comes in silently. And then you go to an event. And when it's a money event, there's like 3 of you guys who are black people there. And maybe one of them is from the continent. It's something like that. And then it's when all those things are coming up to your mind, right? You start feeling them. And then this week I was like, okay, hold up. I can't go on like this. Took a week off. I was like, okay, let's reframe this. The whole goal of the week was, obviously I was still doing some work, but my whole goal of this week was, okay, how do I reframe my mindset to the best mindset to move forward? Because I know where my head is right now is not yet. So I went through a whole thing, wrote on every single issue, got to those. That's why I discovered that one. I was like, so there are these silent ones that come. They come in a very seductive way that you don't notice. I noticed that...
It's like a silent creeper.
Exactly. I noticed with other people. I'll give you a perfect example how I noticed that a lot of people who are working with this vision had kind of given up. Because when we did what we did... So you mean as in
people who were working on similar goals and ideas as you, who look like you?
Who look like me.
Okay.
They had kind of given up, but they did not know. In other words, they had kind of shrunk their goals just because of how much the life was slapping them. And a lot of them did not know. And I noticed that...
The rejections were eventually, without their knowledge and without truly their consent, they have allowed for the rejections and the no's and the difficulty of what they're facing to make them back out and to quit.
Exactly. Not quit. They think they're still pushing for it, but they are pushing in a smaller capacity. In other words, maybe they came in with this huge goal. But when you speak to them right now, I'll give you an example. So I was giving a speech in South Africa, right? And I was talking about how creatives are not pushing far. And somebody came into me and be like...
say that again.
How creatives are not pushing beyond what they need to be doing. They're not pushing as much. In other words, they're pushing only within the box they're allowed to push in.
Yes.
Right? And I was talking to them about that. I remember again, she's doing great things. She came to me like, I really liked your speech. It actually relit the fire inside me. And I realized I was starting to settle. And it's that thing of like, it took a speech from me, right? So those ones there, people don't, because they're graphic problems, it's easy to solve them because you see them.
Yeah.
But those silent ones that come in, that's like newest lesson, those come in. So I just took some time off, put it in, reframed everything. But that's the only thing you can do is you reframe how you look at problems. They're not problems, they're gifts, right? Because everybody I'm telling this, my goal is to be one of the best creative leaders the world has ever seen, because I think that's one of the hugest problems we have in the creative industries. Is most people in leadership in creative industries come from other industries and they just fit in. So they don't truly understand it. And I want to be that. I want to be one of those. And if I'm going to be one of those, I need all this practice. So every
Yeah,
problem that comes in is practice.
absolutely.
It's more tools for me to use.
Absolutely.
So this is now now I've encountered this one, I know how to approach it, right? It's more just sit down, reframe your mind. For example, that thing of people not trusting Africans, I'm like, that means opportunity for me to show them the right way. And if I can do that for that one person who doesn't trust the Africans, it means they're going to trust all Africans, not just me. And that opens up the door for a lot of people. So I'm looking, this is an opportunity for me to make a difference. And again, they say you have the good reasons, right? You have the external validation, the internal validation. I like winning. I love winning. And that's a large opportunity for me to win.
Yeah,
Right? So it just
absolutely.
personally, I'm very competitive. I love to win. So I just reframe that to, okay, this is a chance for me to win big. Because if I can change their minds, what's going to do for everybody on the continent, I'm going to win big. So that's a selfish one. But selflessly, everybody gets to win in the continent
Everyone
as
gets
well.
to win, and everyone
Yeah.
gets to benefit off of your work and
Exactly.
the doors that you open, but also the impacts that you make whilst you're within those doors.
Exactly.
I mean, what you're saying is really, really deep. And unfortunately, as Black people, we cannot ignore our skin color. And as you're
Yep.
saying, even if it wasn't apparent before, the higher you go up, the
You feel
more
it.
it's apparent and you feel it.
It's in weird positions, right? Like you go, it's not that the people are doing it, you just feel it. And again, as I say, it's up to us to reframe it. The way I've reframed it is, look at me opening these doors now. So it's not like, oh, where all the
Yeah.
Black people is like, look at me opening these doors now. That's how I look at it, right?
Let's talk about the mental aspects of being the first to do something, or being the one that is breaking the barriers, being the one that is making the records, being the one that may be in the first in your family to get a degree, or be the first six-figure owner, whatever that is that you're doing as the first. Tell me what that's been like for you.
Again, because I know myself, so I'm guessing you get different answers from different people on this one, right? Because I knew myself before all the glitz and glamour. My grammar is bad anyway. Before all the glitz and glamour, I knew myself already. And so it didn't quite change me as much, but it definitely changes how people look at you and how people talk to you. So you feel it, right?
Wow.
So let's say, for example, if I meet somebody and they don't know what I do, or we're just having a conversation, I can go out and come back in and I'm talking to them and I'll know they found out who I was.
That's
Right?
really interesting.
It changes a
that you
little
say
bit, right?
that.
Yeah.
Okay.
So you feel it. It's one of those like, okay. I'm not just a normal human being to them anymore. All right? It kind
It's like initially they
switches.
overlooked you, and now it's a different way that they look at
Some overlook, some of them is just treating you normal.
Yeah.
The overlooking one, that one is that's.
This
I
is
think
like-
that's why people go insane in Hollywood. Hollywood is very. Are you somebody? Oh my God, you're the greatest person ever. You're nobody. We'll talk to you later. That's how it feels like.
Yeah.
So I think, and if you're a human being, if you can imagine with your self-esteem, and that's how
Yeah.
you're getting, it's a weird one. So in Hollywood-ish, that's kind of the feeling when I'm in red carpet events as well, and things like that.
Yeah. It's like, who are you?
Yeah. Funny enough, if you notice, I've not been to a red carpet, apart from Iwaju, I've not been to a red carpet movie screening in a while. And that's because I was feeling that too much and it was bothering me.
Feeling what?
That thing of, oh, you're somebody, oh my God, versus just another guy. Right?
Like, well,
yeah, like that.
no,
that,
trust me.
It kept itching on me.
I
So,
absolutely can relate. I absolutely can relate, especially being in certain spaces, and it's you again. I observe a lot, so you see the reactions that people give you. You see the
Yep.
reactions that how people interact with you, and I think going back to our initial conversation about how I felt meeting you for the first time, it was just you were just so warm with everyone. It wasn't sort of calculated in who do I speak to, and strategic positioning of, oh, okay, there's that person over there, I want to speak to them because they are somebody. It was just, I'm just interested in who you are. And again, when you are in this space, sometimes you experience it.
Oh, yeah.
But you also witness it. So
Yep.
then it's interesting that you say that, because now that you've said that, I've seen how I've even withdrawn from certain activities or events or
Yep.
being in certain spaces, especially within music, which I have been a lot, because you see that a lot
Yeah.
and you experience it, and then you start to feel like, oh, and then if people don't want to know who you are, or they don't think you are valuable enough to engage with right now, you are almost sort of kind of pushed to the
Exactly.
side or ignored.
Yeah. Yeah.
But-
So that's weird. There's a weird one. Remember, I got married. Funny enough, that's one of the reasons was even the girls I was meeting, it changed. So before, like, I felt like almost had control over the girls I was talking to and all. Then you start feeling like, okay, this girl is talking to me. Like, I'm a target in this girl's eyes. And I'm one of those guys, I'm very chilled. Like, I hardly, like, go for dates here and there. But, like, before I take you on a date, bro, we've spoken like a bunch. We've met up in coffee shops or walks. And then you're saying, yo, let's go for a walk. You are whole Hamid. Nah, let's go to this nice place. I'm like,
They're like, Hamid, you've got that Disney money. Please, please,
Exactly,
please.
literally, right?
Let's go to Park Chidwa.
exactly. And I'm like, I've been talking like my whole, again,
let's go to
luckily
Mayfair.
I've been blessed when I'm okay. Always been okay with women. And I'm like, okay, so all this time, and because I've been that, right? And then you see now it's changed. And then also the kind of women changed. In other words, I started
Okay.
meeting more crazier women.
Oh, not the crazy women. What's
Yeah,
been going
yeah.
on in these streets?
And literally the moment there's one, sorry, she's a nice person, her specifically, but the comment she said is wild.
Okay, what did she say?
I like it, right? And then I was talking to this girl and so on, and she compared kids to parasites.
She compared what?
Kids to parasites. Now, that flipped me off. And if there was ever an alarm bell in my mind that made me go, Hamid, what the hell are you doing here?
Was it like a red flag?
That's when
red
I was
flag,
like,
red
you know
flag?
what? I need to find a good woman and settle down. Because that's when it hit me. I was like, this is how people end up in problems with women.
Facts.
That's why it
Facts,
landed.
facts,
I was
facts,
like, I need to
facts,
find a
facts.
good woman right now. Then I started dating very consciously.
Yeah,
Settle down,
intentionally.
which is it's almost the reverse of what most guys do. When they get the success and they start getting this access to women and so on, they absolutely indulge.
Yeah.
Now, unfortunately, I'm a wiser man now. I used to indulge. The moment I started getting the success and all that, I realized, okay, this feels like it felt like I was gonna walk into hell. That's the only way I can describe it. It felt like I was going towards there. Then I was like, nah, I got turned this way. So it's
Yeah.
very opposite of what most guys go. So that was a weird one.
Yeah,
In terms
I
of
want to speak
going
more
through
on that,
this.
but I can't. So we can talk when the cameras cut. But I completely understand where you're coming from with that. A wise man is wise enough to make the right decisions at the right time.
Amen. Listen, in God's grace, because that one I don't know how I pulled it off because I was an idiot, but I pulled it
Yeah.
off. I made that right decision.
God's favor.
So, yeah, God's favor.
The Lord was looking out for you. He said, this one, they will eat you alive in this
Yeah.
industry. In this Hollywood, they will eat you alive. Let me just give you a nice package.
Yeah, and then for good news wise, something that was positive in terms of all the glitz and grammar is you almost become a magnet to all the people you'd want to talk to.
Oh.
So in other words,
Tell
if
me
when I
more
talk to
about
this
that.
person, I'm like, hey, da 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 da. It's like, oh, literally, even right now, if it's a busy networking event, I'm like, have you watched Iwaju? He's like, no. I check out the trailer. You have not watched it. Check out the trailer. It just cuts out all the intros and stuff, and then I can just easily talk to them. So it's
Yeah.
kind of cut down the amount of time if I'm going to, like, if there's somebody I'm like, I really want to talk to this person, and I meet them to get them to talk to me seriously. It has reduced that time tremendously, and also access I've had. I've met. If I was a person who takes pictures and videos and stuff like that, I've had amazing experiences. I've met a lot of celebrities.
Okay, so we were talking about meeting all these amazing people, and one person that you met recently was the president of Uganda.
Yes.
How did that come about?
That's a whole thing, but I'll give you the miniaturized version.
Yeah.
So I did an Iwaju screening in Uganda, and I had other people coming in there. And then I had conversations I was already having conversations with government bodies, right? Because I was trying to get some stuff done. Again, we're moving to building. In other words, you cannot build an industry, an economy in a country that's developing without the help of the government. It's just not possible. It's not a feasible thing to do. You could, but you're needlessly giving yourself more stress than you need.
Yeah.
You'd rather be, again, not the officials themselves, but you want the country on your side.
Yeah,
So you're in the public
need
and
that
public
support.
sector. Exactly. So I was already having those conversations. So I'd got into some circles. And also I noticed that as a country, Uganda right now, one of the main focuses is tourism. So they want to attract people in there. And if you go in terms of just the impact of media, when it comes to people looking at a place and want to go there, that also plays into it. And then there was a tourism program called 62 since 62. Shout out to all the organizers, right?
That looked like a great trip, by the way.
It was pretty good. It was quite good.
How do I get invited to the next one? 63 for 63 Uganda.
I have no idea. I'll ask the organizers. So you ask Priscilla, Lucy, who am I missing? Diana, who is, again, the program. It was the president's daughter, Diana.
Oh, the president's daughter.
Yes.
Oh, okay.
So she was the one kind of setting up that program. She's
Yeah.
in the tourism body in Uganda.
Yeah. So tell me about the conversation. What were you talking about and what did he say to you?
So he addressed us, we introduced ourselves, a few of us, and then he gave a chance to ask 5 questions. And got to ask one of those questions. And then it was more like a discussion rather than a question, right?
Yeah.
Like you said something, you'd respond, you go back and forth, right? And then I brought up the fact that, which is a true thing, currently in Uganda, there is no singular place you can go if you're trying to get a problem solved for creatives. There's like 5 different ministries or something, and they're all like, now there's so many hands in the pie, so there's no accountability. In other words, I can come to you, you're the Minister of Tourism, you handle creatives. There is culture, and something handles creatives. ICT, which is tech, handles creatives as well. So it's that weird thing where you can get bounced between ministerial offices. And if you looked at all the creatives in Uganda, most of them had got almost zero support from the government. Musicians did recently, where they did there was an organization and it got some support from the government. But outside that, most creatives were even apprehensive to the government. You mentioned the government, they're like, whoa, kind of thing, because they've all been burnt. They've all tried different ways and they all got burnt. So I brought up the fact that there has to be a way where we can unify this into one body, so we can know exactly where to go. So if somebody needs something fixed with creatives, we go to that one person. And kind of explain to him kind of the issues we faced because of that one body not being there. And this is the first time, I think, publicly, somebody fact check me if there's another time, where the president openly acknowledged the value of creatives, right? In terms of him saying that made sense when it comes to that sector. Because before he was a bit, right? He set up, given he was already moving towards a direction, I'll give that credit to there, where he appointed, there's an presidential advisor for creatives. He's a musician, Eddie Kenzo. So from the music side, you already appointed them, but that's an advisor, right? That's different from if you're a minister, not an advisor. Advisor is useful, but he doesn't have a team. He doesn't have a big enough team. He has visions on how to build that, so I'll give him his credit on that as well. I got to speak to him. And he said it made sense. And we had a conversation around that area, and he explained that the reason he wasn't there was in the past, there were things were looked at things for work and things for play. And creative industries were looked at things for play, but right now he understands the world is moving forward.
Of course.
So maybe it's something we should look into. So that was the thing that kind of, we held that flag, and that allowed us to, I think we met almost at least 3/4 of anybody who is involved in creatives in the government, just because you could wave that statement around that he said it made sense. So let's try and make it happen kind of thing. So that was a conversation with the president.
Look at you in the president's ear, direct.
I know, right?
No, I love that for you. I love that for you. Truly, you know when they say like your talents will make room for you. Your talents have made room for you
and a lot of connections.
At the King's table.
Say, I don't want to leave out the people who made it possible. So the organization of 62 made that possible. And then when I was jumping around meeting all these creatives, I was with Dennis, who's a friend of mine. He's a producer, freelance. He's great. You should probably work with him at some point.
Okay.
Again, he was moving us around and everything like that, so I'm just giving them the credits as well.
Yeah. No, I love that. So what is something that you're currently, of course we spoke about you wanting to working with investors, talking to investors and seeing how we can move this forward. What is the one thing I feel like as the diaspora that we can do to support the work and the creative work that's happening in Africa, or creators in Africa just in general, the arts and the culture? How can we, make sure that those are thriving industries, not just, in Uganda, but in Nigeria and Zimbabwe, South Africa, Kenya, all over?
I would say first thing is just look at it as both the diaspora and Africa as just African creative industry, because then we have a lot more power just from that position. One thing, if I'm going the easiest one, if you want to be lazy about it, the easiest one is diaspora. Your money goes way further. The pound is dropping right now, but still,
it's still doing something.
Good. Yeah,
we'll put respect on it.
Exactly. Your money goes way further on the continent. So if you just put in the money, there's projects coming about. See how you can, again, the easiest way, less effort, but a lot of impact. One of them is just financing stuff, right? Come together, make a coalition, fund up a big pot. It's something I've been thinking about, but I need to see what the laws are around that. Like in other words, if you can collect money from like 10,000 people, collect it in a pot and distribute it, almost like not a VC fund, or I don't know what they will call that.
I think
Family and friends fund, something like
there's
that.
definitely things like that, and I believe there's
Exactly.
platforms that allow people to fundraise
Yeah.
or to raise funds for such like big projects.
Yeah.
Something I thought was really, really cute was seeing your mum on the documentary for Iwaju. So if you have a Disney subscription, I absolutely recommend that you watch the behind the scenes, the making of Iwaju. It was really, really inspiring to watch.
Thank you.
Just the entire thing. So watching the three of you, the founders of Kogali Media, and the behind the scenes documentary just really showed again the process, discussing how the two came about, so Disney and Kogali Media, and then just you get to hear from the guys who created it. And how did it feel just being able to bring your parents into just filming?
It was absolutely comedy. Oh my
Really?
goodness. Yes, I loved it. I loved it so much.
No, I do
So-
not. I think even just watching it felt like watching my own auntie or watching my
Literally.
own mum.
Yeah.
Which was like the most heartwarming part of it. I was sitting there grinning from ear to ear, like this
Yeah.
is so cute. I love it.
And then I really appreciated how honest she was and how vulnerable she was. In other words, she said things where like if she did not say, like nobody would be like, oh, nobody would be bothered, right? She really opened up. And
Yeah.
I was very happy about that. I was like, oh wow. I was like, hey, just extra high fives on that. So I loved that. And then the bit where they say is comedy, which was in typical African mom style. They go, yeah, just because they're coming. I know how this documentary goes, right? We already, like, you're about to do something natural. They go, wait, let's get the camera, act normal. Shout out to Megan. I'm sorry.
It's like act natural. Suddenly they're like this.
So now, that was the first time I got filmed, like, eating at home. And it felt weird.
I can imagine that's weird because I mean we don't always have cameras following us around. Number one,
Exactly.
number two, we don't always have cameras from the Disney following us
Oh, yeah,
around
and they're
and
huge
filming
cameras.
our lives. No, it was really nice. It was really
Yeah.
nice to see that. But I think it even made it special because I watched the documentary first before I watched Iwaju itself, and I'm an absolute sucker for documentaries. I love sports documentaries. I don't really watch sports besides like tennis. I don't really watch sports, but I will sit down and watch 3 to 4 hours like back to back of like documentaries just because like I'm so into it. I want to see the behind the scenes of everything. I want to see like people's stories, but I want to see you. Do I have a favorite in terms of what, sports documentaries or just documentaries?
General documentaries.
No, I would say the last one that I saw, which I really enjoyed, was I think it's called like Starter 5, which was focusing on 5 basketball players, American. One of them was, I want to say it was LeBron James, and then 4 others who I can't remember their names.
Okay.
But again, and they all play on different teams in the NBA. One of them went on to win the NBA championship, which was his first. But just watching the entire thing was just like so captivating to me because you get to see their 5 individual journeys, their stories, their
That's
backgrounds, like their family and how they interact and their kids. And it was just like so heartwarming, but also just inspiring in different ways and how, you know, you see them overcome challenges in different ways and different challenges as well. But
yeah, that's the thing I like about documentaries as well.
You're right.
I like that because people don't see those aspects there, and they make you, in difficult times, they make you go, because now you can relate. You're like, oh, those guys went through a difficult time as well. Documentaries,
Exactly.
or if I call them less interviewee interviews or podcasts where somebody is actually talking. Like there's one, this where you are politically may affect how you look at this guy now. Elon Musk, right? He's still one of my idols because in my darkest times there's a clip of his that kept me going, which was he was doing an interview and the interviewer is asking him about how he feels about the fact that all his heroes are telling him it's gonna fail, SpaceX is gonna fail. right? And you can see he's choking up, he's tearing up, he's properly emotional, right? Then he's saying that he has to do it, right? And then he goes through, and if you know the story there, like he's on literally either, right, he can give the money he has left, he can give that to one company, let the other company die, let the other baby die, or he can split it to both of them, and both of them could possibly die.
Oh.
And he takes a risk on both of them, and they both pull through, right? The rocket he launched, if that next rocket exploded, that's it. And he took that risk. So I watched that, and that every single time I'm going through hardships, I look at them like, okay, I know I have problems, but those are way bigger problems, right? And they kind of create that you don't feel as alone. Because often when you're building something, there are moments you just feel alone, because you can't really talk like, okay, how do you come, like me, let's say I come to a normal person, right? And I try to explain my problems to them, they make no sense. Like these, like how they cannot give me an answer, right?
No.
And
then
then
they're looking at you like,
the
I
people
wish
who
I
can
could help, but man,
Exactly.
this problem is above me.
yeah, and the people who can give you the answer,
Yeah.
a lot of the times they're probably competitors, so you can't really truly tell them the problem fully.
Right. See, that's the other part.
Yeah.
That's the other part. Because then it's like, you probably are even going through the similar thing that I'm going through, or have gone through it, overcome it. But how do I
How do you
approach
tell
you?
it?
And
Exactly.
Yeah.
Right. So it's a whole thing. But moments like that, like from documentaries, I watch some of them, and then that clip, the Elon, I still have it saved. That
yeah,
clip.
that you just go back and
Sometimes,
watch
like
it.
when I feel like the whole world is just falling on my head, just turn that on and I watch, and I'm like, if he can go through that, I can go through this as well.
Yeah.
So it's a little thing right there for me.
And overcome. Absolutely, you definitely can.
Yeah.
What can we expect from Kugali Media and from you individually in terms of production, new shows? And now that we've had this one smash hit, are we going to go into a similar direction, or are we going in a completely different direction?
Kugali, still maintaining that direction in the way we've always done it, because most people know us for animation now, but we had
Yes.
comic books before animation. So there's a comic book we had that launched last month, but we have a book. I'm just gonna research. We have a book. We have 2 books we're gonna be launching from Disney Publishing next year. That has been announced for sure. So 2 of them are coming out next year. We have a project we're working on, a secret project. We cannot say it at all. That's coming out in 3 to 4 years. Hopefully the announcement is next year. Don't worry, that's not our own IP, but it's a large IP we're working with the people on. So that was the exciting one. Let
Okay,
me
so
see
that's
what
a
else.
completely Kugali Media production.
No. Opposite of that.
Okay,
And then in
okay.
terms of Kugali Media production, currently there's, in terms of one, we're trying to do completely Kugali Media. Very exciting, one of the most exciting stories. Nigeria won again, but it's a global story. Takes place mostly West Africa. Actually, not Nigeria, West Africans in general. It's called Jollof Wars.
Oh, okay.
It's currently cooking. If anybody wants to work with us on this, reach out. Let's see how we can make it happen. Again, it's very early days. It's pretty much an Afrobeats musical.
I think that would be sick.
Yeah.
It would be
With the
amazing.
dancing and everything, and it's all on. It's a
Yeah.
food competition, and I'll give you the premise of it. So it's a food competition, and the spirits. Every single person, every chef has a spirit, like a guiding spirit. Now the competition usually takes place in different places worldwide, but this time it's taking place in Africa for the first time in like a very long time. So obviously you can imagine almost like World Cup coming to Africa, right? Everybody's
Yeah.
there. The cooking happens in a large stadium. The stadium is shaped like a saucepan, right? Now each person's spirit has a different abilities. So for example, one of the spirits, she can control fire and make the temperature the exact temperature you want and hold it there for as long as possible. There's another one who can make any metal object you need, so you can make the tools and everything. So you can imagine, right, how they play through. So and then Jollof Wars, you can imagine what it's all about.
So where will this be launching? See.
This is so early days.
Okay.
So early days. We're kind of just right now we're kind of collecting a team for it. We're moving it around. That's why I'm mentioning it right now. Area wise, reach out to us, see how we can go forward with this. In terms of different people, just putting it out there, right? Because we're trying to build a team. We've not done anything like this before. I've not done anything completely ourselves before. So we're excited. We have a starting point, but it's so long, right? We're gonna do the funding grant for it and everything just for it. We're gonna start doing that soon.
Wow.
So it's a whole thing. Yeah.
That sounds exciting. I look forward to it. What do you want to be remembered for?
Me personally, depends by who. This is a tricky one. The family members, people who love me, I would just want them to just remember me for being there for them, pretty much, right? I want to be the person who's there for everybody. Even if my time is short, I want to be the person who's there when you're like, you need something. I want to be that person who's there. So that would be the wish. That's a goal. That's in terms of like, as a man, that would make me really happy. For the people I care about. Let me see, the next level beyond that, so friends or people who know me. What's that? I like people to remember how the effort I put into trying to uplift everything as much as possible. That would be great. Like if I'm on my deathbed and people are going through like just how much effort I put in. However far we push, I know I've made some progress, so I'm at least, thank God. It's something to show for it.
Effort you put in relationships or effort you put into your work?
Into not just relationship, not just the work. It's more trying to create an impact. Because it's a hard thing, right? Because you're pushing, it's almost like you're pushing against the wall and you look down and you see it just move like a tiny inch, right? And a lot of people get discouraged with that, and I want to push it enough to where it makes a big enough impact to where they go, damn, he actually did it. That kind of level. I'd wish that. And then for the rest of the world, let me see, worldwide. Somebody who transformed the entire creative sector, not animation, not African animation, like the entire creative sector. That's the goal. Yeah.
I love that.
Thank you.
I know that you'll do it.
Thank you.
I mean, you've already made
throw it to
strides.
you quickly.
Oh, me. What do I want to be remembered for? It's such a really deep question. Impact.
Okay.
Just impact to those around me in different ways. Again, I think with family and friends, it's different. It's intimate. And that impact looks like love. It looks like practical love. And I think professionally, I just want it to be impact through the stories I tell. I want it to be positive impact through the stories I tell. Being able to sit here across from you, across from people that I truly respect, people that I admire, people that I know, and to tell their stories, to give them a platform to shine, that's all I want to do. Is just to give that space, to give that platform for other people to shine, to speak about their experiences, but to also give the listener or whoever may come across this video something that will uplift them. In the same way that you spoke about Elon Musk, he lifted you up or he gave you hope in the times that you found it difficult. Sometimes for someone else, it may not be a Elon Musk because Elon Musk feels so far away. But for someone else, it would be the fact that Ibrahim spoke about his struggles as a CEO and he found ways to overcome. Or Hamid spoke about, I went through X, Y, Z, but I overcame. Or this person came on Noma's podcast and talked about their struggles with a specific thing, but they overcame it. So that's all it is. I just want other people to shine. Like seeing you do what you do and excel, but also reach levels that we may not have been able to reach or thought was possible to reach, just makes me so happy.
Oh,
like honestly, that's all.
That's awesome. I like that. I like that a lot. Yeah.
Thanks. But closing remarks. What I want to say to you is that you've already made way more impact than you can imagine. Of course, you've been getting those comments, but I think what's so special is that not only are we seeing representation through, for instance, Iwaju or the characters that you guys are creating in your comic books. That's great, but and those are fictional characters. But the fact that I get to see 3 young black men who feel like my brothers, who feel like my friends, working with incredible companies like Disney, reaching millions across the world, creating, something I can touch, something I can read, something I can watch, and just like living out their dreams is so special to me. Now that is the representation that truly matters. The fact that I can turn on Disney and see your face, someone who I'm familiar with, that's like, it puts a battery in my back. I'm like, oh, hold on a minute.
go, yeah?
Let's go. Because there's things to be done. There's impact to be made. There's lives to touch. There's people to inspire. There's like stories to write. There's stories to tell. You know, so I just want to say thank you for not giving up. Thank you for pushing forward. Thank you for taking the time, especially when you're feeling overwhelmed or a little bit beat down, to continue. And
amen. If that's like one of the most what's the word? I can't even think of a big word. Extraordinary kind of compliments I've gotten. 100%. You 100% take that. That was so. Yeah, you did it. Yeah,
of course.
I'm feeling very gooey right now.
That's good. That means my job is done. Any last remarks from you?
Nah, just absolutely amazing. Coming here, it was a great podcast. Again, last comments say absolutely great. And it's been amazing catching up with you because it's been a while.
It's been a minute.
It's been a while.
I feel like
It's
we
been
had a
great.
conversation where we were like, okay, we'll talk, we'll chat, we'll da-da-da, and then like life got busy, and then it just kind of like.
Yeah, again. I'm always there. Reach out. We'll see what to do. But this was amazing. Well done. Well done.
Thank you. Thank you.
And
Thanks
also,
for coming.
Kind of person you as well, like how you're discussing about everything. I love that. I like that a lot. I think we need more of that in the world.
Oh, thank you.
You're welcome.
Would do. But yes, if you've not seen Iwaju, What Are You Doing? Make sure after this episode, okay, go watch it. Watch it with your young sister, your cousin, your siblings, your grandma, your auntie, your auntie's uncles, friends, brothers, cousin. Watch it with all of them. It was so beautiful to watch. And hopefully there will be a season 2. I'm going to do my own little prayer for that one, that we can get a season 2 or something like that. But thank you for joining me for another special episode. Thank you, Hamid. I appreciate your time. And yeah, catch you on the next episode. Bye-bye.
Goodbye. All right.